All right, we're here today to talk, not fight, but talk about beneficiary designations. Beneficiary designations on bank accounts, real estate, other assets. Erica, what kind of beneficiary designations can you put on assets?
Well, for bank accounts, they don't call it a beneficiary designation. For bank accounts, they call it a POD, payable on death designation. And you can do that at your bank if you want. We're not saying you should, we're saying you could, and we're going to talk a little more about whether that's a great idea or not. So for a bank account, it's called POD. What's the brokerage account?
Brokerage accounts are TOD, transfer on death. Just a little bit different name, but it does the same thing. What about life insurance and retirement accounts?
So life insurance and retirement accounts, they do actually call it a beneficiary designation. And I think both of us suggest to our clients that they have a primary beneficiary on those assets and a contingent or a backup beneficiary on all those assets. Would you agree with that?
Always.
Okay, so
Always.
so we're talking about the same concept where an asset goes directly to somebody or somebody's when I die.
Right, and that beneficiary designation takes precedence over anything that your will or trust says, which is why it's so important. So the question today is, should you name a beneficiary on every single asset that you have or not? Right? There's pros and cons to that. Now I see a lot of clients who will name beneficiaries on everything. Why do they do that? Because they want to avoid probate. Will you avoid probate? Yes, if you have a beneficiary named on every single asset. But Erica, is that always the right thing to do?
I'm of the mindset that it's not necessarily the right thing to do. I've seen many cases throughout the years where somebody sets up beneficiaries on everything they have, POD, TOD, beneficiary, and when they die, every asset they have goes directly to those people. And now those people, their loved ones, those people that inherited it all, there's no one in charge of this dead person's estate. There's no way to pay their bills. And you might say, okay, well, these people I'm going to leave it to are going to pay the bills with this money. But which one? Nobody's responsible for that. And I'm not saying they would be stealing the money. They're not. They don't have a job to pay your bills. So I've seen that go very, very wrong. By doing that. Have you seen other things where
Yes, I've seen a lot of that, and where it may be through no fault of their own, but somebody doesn't have the money, they inherit money, they don't have money to put back into the estate to pay the bills or to remodel the kitchen or things like that that need to be done. And our philosophy is always, we want to make this as easy as possible for your loved ones. And what we don't want is to set up a situation where they're just going to start fighting. Right? Because it's just going to tear the family apart. You know where else I really don't like to see beneficiary designations go wrong is on a beneficiary deed. Like I had this case years ago where the mom named all 4 kids as beneficiaries on the house, and 3 of them wanted to sell and 1 didn't. And they were stuck and they couldn't sell the house and it was a mess.
So much as Beth and I wanted to duke it out over this topic, we really decided we agree a lot more on all of this, which is usually the case after 21 years of working together. We usually end up agreeing, but not always. Good, some of the lawyers would disagree with what we're saying here, but we think it's a better idea to have a full estate plan. Let that estate plan, will or trust, take care of your assets when you die.
Like a big picture.
Okay.
Yeah, like a big picture.
Right.
And then we will help you make recommendations for which assets should name beneficiaries. Like I really like the transfer on death form for vehicles because I think anything that makes dealing with the DMV easier is better.
That's a new thing?
That's relatively new, right? And a really easy form, you can download it from the DMV website. And we both agree that on retirement accounts in particular, if you want to touch on that a little bit, need to have beneficiaries.
Yeah, on retirement you have to name a beneficiary, a primary and a contingent. Don't let it go through your estate. If you let it go through your estate, a retirement plan, it's going to be subject to a lot more income taxes when you die. So we can't tell you what your beneficiary should be right now, but if you do an estate plan with us or have done an estate plan, we've told you what they should be. So I think that's the important part. Look in your binder, it's there, and if you're not a client and you became a client, we would coordinate that, or tell them how to coordinate that, is that right?
Absolutely.
Love it.
All right, next time we'll try to find a different topic that we really disagree on, and
Okay.
we can
Duke
fight it out.
Okay, deal.
All right, thanks, everybody.